All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 30. All right, 30 episodes in.
Yep.
We've had civil wars, craziness, intrigue,
and
betrayal.
Oh, yeah.
The whole gamut, and we're still
into
another
more
80 episodes still to go.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yang's in a bit of a tough waters, even if he doesn't necessarily realize it fully.
Yeah, it's something that he's definitely not aware of. It's something where he's definitely a guy that has, I would say, a good head on his shoulders. So he's not that he's ignorant with regards to how dangerous things are. It's that he doesn't necessarily know where his enemies are going to be coming from and how they're going to be attacking him.
Yeah, and it seems like something where he is so averse to maybe the paranoid leader kind of a thing and where that can go, that he doesn't want to fully take all the precautions that maybe he could. Maybe that's just me, but like...
Yeah, I think in some ways it's where he's in some ways, the blessing of his limited power is something where we, with our omniscient perspective, see, things closing in around him and wish, oh no, Yang, if only you could do something.
Right.
But no, he's probably not until something actually aggresses upon him and the people of the Alliance.
Because that's not the kind of person he is.
Right. So we have a situation with the weapons development people in the Empire bringing in the Geiersberg Fortress as a floating...
All right,
that's no moon.
Yeah, right.
It's a space station.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool. We're going full Death Star.
But Death Star versus Death Star, that's something Star Wars never did.
Yeah. All right, what would make this cooler? What if... All right, take the mech battle. Yeah, uh-huh. Now take Star Wars. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm liking it. Now take the Death Star and Star Wars. Uh-huh. Two of them fighting each other. Yeah.
But sir, it'd just be blah, and then it's over, right?
Well, but they're so big that they could, be like firing on each other multiple times and stuff. And oh my god, if that's what ends up happening, all right.
Yeah. But we also have Fejon involved here. Fejon, I think, is a bigger threat at the moment because they are going to be directly. Like opening up the Alliance's borders to an Empire invasion if things go the way they seem to be going. Now, Reinhardt seems to be very much in kind of a height of power moment, and we just have to see, as the Empire is adjusting and reforming, that he is very much, in complete control of it. How do they make their first move here?
Right. Beyond
this development with the Geiersberg Fortress.
And the whole idea of, oh yeah, we can just assassinate Reinhardt once he takes over everything, Yeah.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. All right.
Okay.
We got our episode. We got our characters going through and lamenting what's been lost. We have the young friend, kind of little brother of Hilda, and him like lamenting his lack of physical capacity.
And yet they did the narrator gave us that little bit of sort of like, oh yeah, something bad's gonna happen here. They were nervous for some reason, and it wouldn't come into play until later. And it's like, okay,
yeah, that seemed kind of weird. But the way he was describing it almost felt like it wasn't a thing of where, because what he said was regarding most people have some kind of a pet or something that they use as like a coping mechanism.
And he didn't?
But he didn't have one. And that felt a little bit odd.
Well, what it felt like to me was that it was implying that she was his pet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And like, so when I didn't see one, he says while looking at her, like, oh, that, that's all it was.
And she goes, well, he says, that's all it was. And then she says, it's true. He seems to have no interest in that. She looks away.
She looks down and then, looks away. Yeah,
The two felt a vague sense of unease in time. It was only much later they manifested in something more tangible. So what I think it is that when we see him sicken in this bed here, one of the things that might be, like, kind of specifically a thing here is that he has something that could be connotated with specifically Mecklinger here, is that he's kind of an obsessed fan of his.
Sure.
That kind of behavior could be applied to anyone.
Right.
And what happens if they're not accommodating?
Right, because there's something where that was focused on, I feel like, a lot in this episode with the cousin, little brother, but then also with Reinhard and other people, where it was basically like the idea of, we aren't supposed to be alone, right? And if we are alone, if the only people we can open up to is the dead, or Yang,
right?
With, you shouldn't go alone to Heinesen, and and things like that. That can be a place where bad things can happen, right?
Yep.
So also in kind of a similar way, there was all the foreboding stuff with what's his name? The guy when he went back to see his family, and then he's going Kempf, and then he's going off and leaving his family, right? He's going off alone. He's still has the other people that he's going to be with, but bad things can happen there. It can give us that sense of foreboding, even if, say, the test goes just fine, right?
Which it did.
Which
was almost like surprising with what they seem to be setting up. So I guess what they're saying is, no, it doesn't matter about the test. It's about, because the test is successful, now you have to participate in the expedition itself to the other fortress, the Isolon fortress, and that could be where you fall.
Right. So it feels like there's this, because there were still things that were developed and established and continued in this episode specifically, but it continued a lot of the pattern of the previous episode, I feel like, where it's basically saying there are things that will happen in the future, not necessarily right now, but we're laying the groundwork and foreshadowing for a lot of different things to be able to go wrong, right? Even with freaking Rubinsky, right? You know, with him, and
let's go to that scene. That was rather interesting.
Like the whole idea of, but if it's just something that's inherited, it'll be put to the test eventually, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Right. So basically they're doing a psychological lynching of Yang. And it's like, it's a way of doing things that suits those presently in power. As they proclaim democracy, the fact that they're essentially ignoring laws and rules makes it a sham. It's like, and it says, because the people in power don't respect their own laws, the standards of society itself slacken. Even so, that's their problem to deal with. Now, what's interesting is it says, then there's no need to worry for us to worry about it.
And it's almost like this is the retort for that.
And then, and he says, those who receive an inheritance without working for it must take on a suitable test. If it's too much for them, they perish. And Rubinsky has this look of like, are
you effing with me, kid?
Like he's like, are you okay? But then he makes it like almost too apparent by that's not limited to the Golden Bomb dynasty. So he's basically saying, I'm not talking about the old empire here. I'm talking about something in the present. And he does the finger tap here hey, you're the secretary. And I like how he calls him that secretary.
Yeah, remember your place. Yeah.
Yeah, I've better things to do than listen to you philosophize.
But he still then compliments him. He's like, hey, good job. Right.
So now they are like, okay, now who's going to carry out the plan?
Right. There's still work to be done. Please go do that. But you've been doing good work so far.
So he now goes to select the team, which is then going to be Schumacher and the other guy. Schumacher, whatever.
But I love how, when he said that whole thing of the suitable test, and if they, fail, they will perish. There's this, antagonistic look. But then when he says, if they fail, they'll perish, he does this tiny little smirk. It's like...
Right.
Okay.
He's like, you realize, I could be your replacement, Rubinsky, if
if say the Church of Terra, decided, we don't really like you anymore.
Right.
It's something where I was always really interested in Fejan because it's the third party. It's the chaos factor amidst the straightforward dynamic of the two sides fighting each other. Even though there's infighting and stuff within the two sides, which also makes it more complicated. But the idea that within the third faction, you also have the potential for infighting, and not just within the Church of Terra and, and Rubinsky, but then also people under Rubinsky. So it's like there's so many players here, and everyone wants to win the game of galaxies, So,
It's fun. Yang had quite a bit of banter, making fun of everything and having his typical good time. But this might be one of the last times he's going to be able to joke about things without it being taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I'm very worried about this trip he's taking to Heineken. I think it's Heineken.
No, Heineken.
Thank you.
Heineken is
that's a beer.
That's the beer.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love about this show, because I'm not exactly sure where it will end, but I know that there will be a generational shift, much in the same way that there has been already with like the old empire and things like that.
For sure.
I don't know when these characters' cards are going to come up for their time in this generation to shift,
I
right?
think years from now, dude. I think this is a long-form show where people like Julian, we're going to see him grow up to be an adult.
Oh, totally.
Like that's a portion of the story.
And yet, I would have thought a similar thing about Kierheis.
I did too.
So
did too.
So
true.
And because the show's so long, it could go like who knows where it will end.
Yeah, it could go 2 years or 20 years. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So with this situation here, we don't necessarily know where Yang is in his journey, since we know that there will be journeys other than Yang and potentially that go farther than Yang's, right?
Yeah.
So
but
I don't know.
No, but Yang and Reinhardt are endgame for sure. Like that's just gonna,
or at least very close to it.
Yeah, I would say that. But within this bit though, where we have Shunkov, aka one of the biggest chads in the Alliance.
Oh yeah,
who's not actually a full Alliance guy, like,
well, no,
he is.
His parents weren't, but
right.
Yeah.
But point being, he has this air of confidence about him that I really like. So I'm really interested to see who's this new character that he's going to be, attaching to Yang.
Yeah,
that's going to be kind of fun. Kazurna seems to be. Like not as worried about this as I think he was hinting he would be about this kind of thing in the previous episode.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Maybe it's just because he's with Yang in the room, kind of a thing, and like he's already told Yang about it, and Yang will listen or not listen, or he's kind of stubborn that way.
Okay, or it's more of a thing of where you think he's getting this vibe of Yang going there isn't really what would be so bad. It would be like maybe an annoyance. Like, so since he's already given him the thing of you should be careful about Trunit, he's scary. Yang going there isn't like an immediate thing of no, you can't go. It's more of a okay, well they're inquiring about you. That shows their own kind of awkward kind of stepping around the issue of we're scared of you too, but right.
Maybe it's the thing of this time it's probably fine. But if, say, 6 months from now, you get the same thing again, where they ask you to come over for an inquiry.
Right. Yeah, you're going to need to you're going to need to be maybe doing this over a Skype call,
Right. Yeah, practice that social distancing.
Right. Social distancing, get a Zoom background that specifically, like, makes fun of Trunit's face or something, like changes him out to be like, I don't know, like Winnie the Pooh or something.
That has like the glasses and the mustache and everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Trunit, how's it going? Freedom of speech, it's a hell of a thing, right? And he's like, damn it. Democracy. Goddamn Constitution.
Oh, man. This show...
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't properly appreciate the commentary that it gives because, like, I forget about the fact that this is a very old show.
Sure.
So the fact that the commentary that it gives is still relevant, like...
It's more relevant, maybe.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like, that makes it even more impressive that it sows that throughout the show.
Like, here's a way to look at it that's a little bit, like, scary and dark. How many years can you count since, like, 1988 or 1989 where we weren't at war between then and now?
I don't know. I don't keep up with those.
No,
things
that's even the point. The fact that you don't know,
the freedom to have it not be your problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's something that literally like just kind of makes me go, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but before this gets too depressing, like this is a show that I'm very invested in the characters, and when we have little moments like this where we get to have isolated, special little moments, like Hildegard and Reinhard having a little bit of playful banter, her even like kind of giving a little bit of flirting with him, maybe. I wanted to kind of revisit that little bit there to see if she was kind of flirting or if it was something kind of different. But
right, because it's a general report, you know, and
right. So yeah, they're talking about the Geisberg Fortress being sent out. And she's like, Fräulein, you're still against this dispatch. And she's like, I haven't said anything. When you look at me like that, I'm afraid to. And like that little like, I mean, when you look at me like that, like don't demand an answer out of me. Like that's totally flirting.
Look at that
there.
smirk. You know?
Yeah, that's a smirk right there. And he's like, I don't think you would be afraid of someone like me. Or I didn't think.
Yeah, and then they both just sip tea at the same time. So,
and then she goes back into business mode.
Serious, yeah.
Right.
And one of the things that I get the feeling she was doing there is not just as a like, you know, like a
building rapport,
you know, whatever. But she's been noticing he's not the same with Kirhai's gone.
Yeah, he's closed off. Yeah.
I need to put a smile on this guy's face or do something to make him not make the world seem so cold, right? Because I get the feeling that she's got a good read on him. It's the whole thing of the sometimes you understand others better than you understand yourself.
Like Julian said, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And someone in Reinhardt's position that sees the world as a cold place, maybe that might not go super well. So
it's the kind of person that demands that Kempf and Shaft both be on the Geisberg Fortress when they make the test.
Which, I mean, hey, it makes sense, you know, if you're going to have people on it in general, you know, like it's
but what it's also saying is, yeah, you better make the test work because on your own head be it if you fail. Right, like, literally.
Yeah,
on your disintegrated into subspace head, be it.
And yet, if they weren't willing to be on there, I would absolutely not have all the other thousands or millions of soldiers that are probably on there too.
Yeah, totally. But still, that's not. I don't think that's the point. I'm just meaning that the characters that we have that are named that we care about in the plot. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, Reinhardt is giving them an order.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the thing of like how Yang doesn't want Julian to kind of be involved in combat stuff, even though it would be beneficial and helpful just in general because they need everyone they can get.
Well, and that brings up the whole idea of the coldness when you're in those positions of leadership because Julian or Hilda or any of these people, right?
Yeah.
When it's people where the characters know their names and things like that.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, of course they'll care about them, right?
Yep.
But then there's the whole thing that Yang keeps bringing up and the thing that Reinhardt is starting to experience a bit more now that Kirhais is gone is that, all those other thousands and millions of people that, you know, die on your orders, right?
Yep.
Have names.
Yep.
How do you reconcile that, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
you probably don't.
You probably don't.
It's better not to think about it, right?
Oberstein's like, and that's again why I got a dog. Like, you know.
Yes.
It's like
practical.
There you go. Yep, it's practical, right? You know, and
keeps me human.
Right. Yeah. And Reinhardt doesn't have a dog. You know, so
in this game.
Yeah.
Kinda it is. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep, I wrote a sci-fi novel, and it's really cool. It's called Battle Lines. If you're interested in checking it out, the link is in the description to Amazon where you can purchase it.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.